What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 12 Drams of Christmas here on Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron, and today is day 5 in this totally serious and not stupid at all blind tasting series on the channel. Yesterday, I told you guys that we're gonna, forego the music for a few episodes just as I try to get ahead of things. Today, we decided to spruce things up just a little bit with some Christmas lights. So I hope you enjoy the new look. We're gonna keep experimenting as we move forward in this series, but today we are going to do a sort of head-to-head blind tasting. We'll blind review 2 samples because I screwed up and I solicited 14 samples from Patreon members instead of 12, so we gotta double up in a few of these videos. You already know how this works if you've been following this series up to this point, and if you haven't, go back, watch from day 1 up to now. They're short videos. Hopefully they're kind of fun and you get totally blind and unbiased reviews of whiskeys. I have no idea what I'm drinking, so I've got to select 2 samples now. We're gonna do that, oh geez. We're gonna get 2 samples out of here. So number 1 is Sam Blind number 1. This actually just arrived today. And sample number 2 is going to be, let's see, from Jason H. All right, so we've got Sam Blind number 1 and Jason H. We're gonna do a cut now because I have to unravel this sample from Sam. All right, so we're good to go there. Let's get these poured out now. Get a little bit of air in the glass. Make sure both glasses are coated very well. I'm actually gonna have to write down my guesses today because I will forget as we move through this if we're doing 2 of them. I'm also gonna label the glasses because, for the same reason. So Sam is gonna be in glass A. Jason is gonna be in glass B. Here we go, glass A. Sam, let's see what you got. All right, so I think we're back in American whiskey territory at this point. This does smell like a high proof, very dark and rich bourbon. Proof feels pretty solid on this one, like 120-ish is gonna be my just initial guess. Smells very, very good. Let's be a little more, let's be a little more specific now. I'm only 1 scotch deep and I can't even talk. All right, so this is very much a brown sugar and nutmeg kind of baking spice monster of a whiskey. There's not a lot of fruitiness coming out of the glass, but even as I say that it is so baking spice forward, some folks might then expect, oh, well, maybe it's like a Jim Beam product, but there's not really any nuttiness on this either. And so my mind is kind of, bouncing around trying to figure out where this could be from, but I don't wanna make a ton of guesses up front. I do wanna just get these on the palate. With that said though, let me go ahead and nose glass B first, so we can kind of do a side-by-side and then go to the palate on each one of these as well. So let's see what Jason's got in store. So Jason's sample, this feels more like a Brown-Forman product. It's sort of a banana-forward whiskey, but at the same time, there's something else about it that I really like. And similar to Glass A, this has a lot of brown sugar qualities too, but it's in a much different way. Like it's presented differently. It's not as overtly spicy, I would say. It's more sweet, more aromatic. So both of these smell really good, like nothing wrong with either of these whiskeys. I'm still kind of waiting on somebody to send me something that's just tragically bad. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. So let's go back to Glass A from Sam now and get this on the palate. Cheers. So Glass A is really, really nice on the palate. It is as aggressive as the nose would have suggested as far as spice goes. It's a very, very spicy pour, and I think it feels overproof as opposed to, well, what I wanna say is I think it feels higher as far as its proof goes because it is so spicy, but maybe the proof is gonna be a little lower than my initial guess would be. Something about this feels like MGP. There's this kind of syrupy fruit quality to it that some older MGP whiskeys might have, especially at this proof. And now I'm trying to think about like, what could this be? Some backbone, like 10-year MGP picks, Dara, the average drinker, she did one recently and it kind of reminds me of this, but this is a little bit brighter, a little bit more citrusy. And I think Dara's was more of like a dark fruit character. I am kind of firmly in the MGP camp on this whiskey. Let's do one more sip. Yeah, that is a really nice whiskey. I think the proof is probably somewhere around 122, I would say. I think the age on this is probably 10 years old. I do think it's from MGP. Not sure what the mash bill would be, but it is a bourbon, I feel like. I don't think it's finished. And as far as a bottle guess goes, let's just say that the proof is so high, I don't think it's a dark arts, Let's say it's a backbone. I'm gonna say it's a backbone. It could be a lot of different things, but it's probably some NDP sourcing an MGP high proof, decently aged bourbon. I'm gonna go on now to Glass B from Jason. Try to speed through this as quickly as I can. Let's go back to the nose and then get this on the palate. All right, and so Glass B on the palate, this is definitely younger. Also feels like it could be MGP. So I mentioned a banana note. just a second ago, and it felt almost Brown-Forman-like, but once I got it onto the palate, it's sharper and it has kind of a distinct MGP character to it as far as its spice goes. A little bit of that yeastiness that you get from MGP. Now you can also get a yeasty note from Brown-Forman as well, and I often will confuse those on the nose in some blinds, but this palate to me is kind of screaming, 5 or 6 year MGP bourbon, but that banana note is what's really throwing me off, and so like maybe this is a finished MGP bourbon is kind of the place that I'm at right now. Feels more like a 21% rye MGP bourbon if I had to be specific, but I have to do one more sip of this before I can lock in my guesses. Wow, yeah, that is a really spicy whiskey on the palate, and I think it's kind of similar to Glass A, where I feel like it's more spice and less proof. I think I might confuse the proof here because it is so spicy. And having this whiskey now is making me kind of second guess what I thought about Glass A, because I feel like they're both MGP, weirdly enough. And this could be a cool pairing that I just randomly chose out of here. I'm pretty confident that Glass B is gonna be MGP. I'm gonna say that it's, let's say 5.5 years old or something. Let's just say even 5 years, MGP. Proof on this, I don't know, let's go with 123 proof. Again, it could be a little lower because of the spice. Bourbon, I don't know about the finish though. This is really confusing. All right, one more sip, I'm sorry. Listen, if this is a finished whiskey, it's really, really subtle. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is finished. I don't know what kind of finish it would be, but I think I've got my guesses now for both of these, and of course I didn't keep track of any of them at this point, so they are not written down. So let's just do the reveal. Give me a second to get to reveal cards, and then we'll do a little debrief at the end. We're gonna start with Glass A, which I thought was this older MGP. Let's see what this is. Whoa. All right, so this is Willett Family Estate, New Jersey Select. It's called Black Parade. So it's 117.6 proof. I was pretty close on the proof. 11 years old. I think I said it was 10 years old. Now I said this was MGP, and I don't know that Willett Family Estate sources from Indiana. I'll have to check that, and if I can figure anything out about this, I'll put it up on the screen. But this really came off like an MGP product. So I've got to jump in here real quick, guys. I just untangled myself from all the Christmas lights, but I checked with Sam about this Willett sample that he sent, and I didn't realize that this was a rye whiskey. So I said this was a bourbon. I was totally wrong about that. But the crazier part about this for me is that it's not MGP, and it really, really smells and tastes like an MGP product. But the back of this bottle says distilled and aged by Willett. So if this is what older Willett ryes taste like, that's pretty crazy, and I do kind of understand the hype based on this. Now, I still don't think that it's like a $500 bottle or whatever these things go for, but I am very encouraged about what they're producing there, especially because I've had some of their younger ryes, and I've actually had like somewhere between like 7 and 11 year ryes from them that have not tasted like this. They've been very herbal, very dill forward. So this is a total shock to me, and it's kind of exciting, and I'm looking forward to trying some more Willett stuff in the future. But wow, I can't believe that is a freaking rye and not a bourbon. Back to the video. Now let's go on to Glass B from Jason, which at first, again, felt like Brown-Forman to me, but after tasting it especially, comes off like a younger MGP product. I'm gonna say it's finished, but I think it's like subtly finished. And all the other guesses that I can't remember, you know what they were. Let's see. Oh man, all right, this makes sense. This makes sense. It's a Kirkland single barrel by Barton. So it's a single barrel at 120 proof. I don't know what the age is gonna be on this. But it, being a Barton product, that banana note makes more sense now. Yeah, everything's starting to come together. So I'm tricked. I'm definitely tricked on this. The banana note, but also that yeastiness and MGP feel should have directed me towards a younger Barton product. Whereas for me, the banana first went Brown-Forman, then the spice went MGP, but the answer was somewhere in the middle with both of those. And it's a common thing for me that I can mistake younger Barton for some of these other distilleries because it has elements of a lot of other distilleries kind of in the mix, depending on the age of the whiskey. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Sam. As far as like Jason's whiskey, I think it's solid. I don't think this is a crazy good product by any means. It definitely feels young. and I didn't say that earlier, so maybe, you know, maybe now I'm copping out by saying it at the end. But this Willett Family Estate that Sam sent, barrel 2327, 11 years old, 117.6. This is a really nice whiskey. So that's gonna do it, guys. A little longer video here, but you know, I hope this was fun. And you know, surrounded by Christmas lights. Cheers. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Jason. And I forgot to say, for the fifth Drams of Christmas, Sam and Jason gave to me 5 minutes late, 4 barrels chosen, 3-hour live streams, 2 laser codes, and a short guy in a black tee, and a couple of really cool pours here. Yeah, the whole 5 minutes late thing is because I'm late to every single live stream. Cheers, and I'll see you guys soon here on Drums and Drams.